basically, turning out is a really important part of all our horses' management. I mean, I'd go as far as to say it's more than the management, that it complements our training. You know, dressage horses or jumpers are not meant, and never were meant, to be caged in a 12 by 12 stable for 24 hours a day. They're meant to be animals that move around and graze and get their necks down. When he's grazing now, he's stretching this nuchal ligament that runs there from the poll and continues on in another ligament all the way down to his sacrum here. So as he's doing that, he's stretching those top line muscles and soft tissue, and he's lifting up his abdominal muscles, and that's really important to me because that's what I try to do when we're training them. So it is really important for me to do that. And then, as you can see from my stables, I've kind of got smart stables, and then I've got great big pens, and the idea of the pens is that they move around, and some of our other stables have pens that they walk in and out. So this complements all of that. Since we've used the Suregrow fertiliser, it's really helped us be able to turn our horses out more often and regulate the nutrition that goes in there, because we have for 26 years actually used Dodson and Hurrell feeds, but the whole package is important. So more what is coming up through the grass, which frankly we didn't know before, it's really helping the whole package. Well, you can see right out in the distance we've got our flock of sheep, and we've always had sheep here. The only time we haven't had sheep is during foot and mouth, obviously, which we had to have them put down. But otherwise, there's always been sheep on this farm, and that helps also, complements the grazing with the horses. The paddocks are fairly small, so we can get the horses out. They go out one at a time when they're shod, although some of these young horses are 2 or 3 at a time because they're not shod behind. And then what we do in the summer months and the spring, where the grass is really coming through a lot, we have this arrangement here which we call the race, which is a long narrow strip, and we subdivide that with Eddie Palin electric fencing, and so we can regulate the size of paddock they're on. It isn't only just for the amount of intake of grass, it's also, if we have horses that gallop around a lot, then we can put them in a more enclosed space to begin with, and then we make it wider and bigger. The fencing, I mean, most of it is post and rail like this, but then it does have electric fencing on top, and that's really important. It isn't just to stop the horses chewing the fencing, it's also to teach them some respect, really. So because we do have horses out here, you know, you could just catch us at another moment and you would literally find horses in every single paddock here, and it's important that the horses have a sort of a social arrangement, that they don't gallop around and they don't charge through fences, and because of that, you know, we know that they're going to be injury free. You see this guy, we turn our working horses out in boots all the time, and then, you know, depending on the weather, rugs as well. But whenever the weather is nice enough and the sun's out, I like them, you know, to not have a rug on, to get the sunlight into their coats and to be as natural as possible. This is our standard stable. When the doors are closed and you look down the corridor, they look quite posh and quite nice, and they are nice stables, and they've all got rubber floors and rubber walls on to protect the horses, and obviously we use easy bed here. But I do like an arrangement that I'm going to show you later, which doesn't look quite as smart as this, but is actually bigger and for them to move, because, like, as you're probably gathering, I like horses to move around a lot. World Cup goes with. As you can see, he's got a room with a balcony, basically, that he can come in and out of, and again, you know, move around a bit. We've only got 2 of these. They were bull pens, and rather than knock them down, we had them converted. They've got high walls, so they can't touch the other horses. But it's great, so that they can, you know, come out and get a bit of sunshine, and again, they're not stuck in a small stable. These are the less glamorous stables. They're just great big pens. But as I was explaining earlier about the horses being in the paddock and moving around, for me, this is a much more natural way to keep a horse than in a stable that's a third of the size of this, because they can move around, which is good for their, you know, their limbs and everything. They're on a semi-deep litter bed here, so there's plenty of nice, you know, comfy warmth to lie on. And yet at the front here, where they stand a lot and talk to each other, you know, they're standing on the concrete here, which is also good for their limbs, and it's good for their hooves to be dry. Socially, it's really good for horses to be kept in this environment. As I said, they're not meant to be in little cages. They're meant to be herd animals, really. So I like keeping them in this kind of arrangement, really. Although I know it doesn't look that smart.